Namaskar. Let's talk about simple asanas and warm-ups before meditation. There are a number of things that we talked about before as far as nervous energy and channeling it in a positive direction. Now we're going to look at the simplest ways to warm up, and keep in mind that these all apply to whether someone was seated in a chair, or standing. So all of those, and we'll cover at least two of those. So we'll cover in depth about seated warm-ups and also standing warm-ups. Now, just one of the best ways to think about this one is, which directions should I move my spine in? So one is circling the spine. We can get away with that because the spine is not a hinge joint, and just as a simple thing right here, this gives you an idea. It's not very much movement. We will play with that one a little bit more. There's also moving to one direction laterally and then to another direction laterally. There's also moving forward. There's also moving back and doing some kind of a back bend. Now all of those, if we stop and think about those, are spinal variations of movement. But each time they involve different muscle groups in different ways, and sometimes in some ways, let's say for example, I slump too much during the day. What happens is I'm putting a lot of pressure on my vital organs, and especially my heart, and this is just not a good position to be in. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of people, by default, they go into that position, because what happens is the longer the day goes on, if they're looking at a computer monitor or something like that, they start to lean in, they start to squint, they may even start to come down like this, and all of those things going on makes a lot of tension. And that's the reason why we do warm-ups and asanas before meditation, to release some of that nervous energy and tension that's tightening the whole body up. So then the next thing we want to talk about is, a lot of times there's scheduling going on as far as when can I meditate. Well, much like a yoga class, it's probably not a good idea to meditate right after eating. So I would say an hour or two after you've eaten is a good time. It's not going to be intense movement like you might have, say, in a vinyasa yoga class or one of these power yoga classes or something like that. It's going to be, the warm-ups are going to be very easy for anyone to be able to do. As a matter of fact, with the things that I'll show you from a seated position, you could actually do in a wheelchair. But the thing to keep in mind is, if my stomach's really full, it's going to be very hard to move around, and then it's going to be very hard for me to concentrate on anything except my digestion at that point. So we want to get it so the food is not completely an empty stomach. I don't want to have a complete empty stomach, but at the same time, I don't want to have a completely full stomach either. The other thing is, some people have preferred times of day. And I'll give you an example. If you're an early riser, it just makes sense that if you have some quiet time that's you by yourself during the morning hours, that's a good time for you to meditate, because that's the way you work, and that's fine. If you're a person who's up at night and nobody else is around the house, that's a great time to meditate too. Meditating with couples, meditating with your cats or your dogs. I'm familiar with meditating with cats, so I would say that's fine. Some people would say, no, I can't stand it. The animals bother me. I understand. It's a matter of personal preference. So, time of day, somebody here might work night shift. Somebody here might work third shift. So you have to kind of figure out when is the best possible time for you, because you're in a unique situation as far as your schedule, but you know the times that you have that are solitary, or at least where there's you and your partner, and you can get together and meditate, or maybe not. It depends on who you're with, and it depends on any number of things that make you comfortable. So one of the biggest things about meditation that we're going to get at, it has to be comfortable for it to work, because you're not going to keep doing something that is very uncomfortable. With that in mind, I wish you farewell. Namaste.